Picture this. Steven Tyler, the flamboyant and magnetic frontman of Aerosmith, takes to the stage not to belt out another rock anthem, but to unveil a startling truth about his longtime bandmate, Joe Perry. The two have been dubbed the Toxic Twins, a nickname born of their wild antics and infamous shared history. But Tyler's revelations cast a new light on the guitarist's role in their decades-long saga. Tyler's words reveal cracks in the relationship that once fueled Aerosmith's meteoric rise, exposing the conflicts and struggles that define their partnership behind the scenes. Joe Perry, the stoic and reserved guitar virtuoso, has always been a contrast to Tyler's flamboyance. But according to Tyler, this creative yin and yang often masked deeper tensions. Perry's relentless pursuit of perfection, his private battles, and his tumultuous relationships within and outside the band painted a picture of a man as complex as the music he created. From the early days of Aerosmith, it was clear that Steven Tyler and Joe Perry were the driving forces behind the band. Tyler's raw charisma and Perry's blistering guitar riffs created a chemistry that propelled Aerosmith to legendary status. But this dynamic was not without its pitfalls. Their creative partnership was often marred by clashing egos, each vying for control over the band's direction. Think of the recording studio as a battlefield. Tyler, the flamboyant showman pushing for dramatic, radio-friendly hits, while Perry, the purist, insisted on sticking to the band's bluesy roots. Their disagreements weren't just artistic, they were personal. Perry's quiet intensity often clashed with Tyler's larger-than-life personality, leading to explosive arguments that threatened to derail their creative process. One of their most infamous clashes occurred during the recording of Draw the Line in the late 1917s. Both men were deep into their respective addictions, and the tension reached a boiling point. Tyler accused Perry of being aloof and uncommitted, while Perry fired back, criticizing Tyler's erratic behavior and diva-like tendencies. The result was a fractured partnership that would haunt the band for years. By 1979, the cracks in Aerosmith's foundation had widened into chasms. During a heated argument backstage at a concert in Cleveland, Perry stormed out of the band, leaving Tyler and the others scrambling to pick up the pieces. Perry's departure was a seismic blow to Aerosmith's stability, marking the beginning of one of their darkest periods. For Tyler, Perry's exit felt like a betrayal. The man he had considered a creative equal and a brother had walked away, leaving behind a void that no replacement could fill. Perry, for his part, cited Tyler's erratic behavior and the toxic environment of the band as reasons for his departure. Their estrangement was both professional and personal, a rift that would take years to heal. Perry's conflicts weren't confined to Aerosmith. His reputation as a fiercely independent artist often put him at odds with others in the music industry. One notable feud was with Jimmy Crespo, the guitarist who replaced Perry during his absence from Aerosmith. When Perry returned to the band in 1984, Crespo was unceremoniously dismissed. Another notable conflict was with producer Rick Rubin during the recording of Honkin' on Bobo. Perry's meticulous approach clashed with Rubin's more hands-off style, leading to frustrations on both sides. Perry believed Rubin's detached approach hindered the album's potential, further cementing his reputation as a demanding and uncompromising artist. Joe Perry, the stoic and enigmatic guitarist whose riffs defined Aerosmith's greatest hits, was not immune to the destructive forces that often accompany fame. Beneath the swagger and the leather jackets was a man fighting a battle that many never saw. His struggle with addiction didn't just cloud his judgment, it nearly obliterated the relationships and stability he had worked so hard to build. Perry, like his bandmate Steven Tyler, succumbed to the seductive pull of heroin and cocaine, substances that promised escape but delivered chaos. Picture this: Perry, alone in a dimly lit hotel room, his guitar resting against the wall, a syringe on the nightstand, and the hum of the road outside his window. The stage, where he exuded confidence and control, felt a world away. Offstage, his life unraveled in the quiet hours of the night, consumed by the numbing embrace of addiction. For a man renowned for his precision on stage, his personal life was anything but. Perry's addictions didn't just weigh on his health, they seeped into every corner of his life. Rehearsals were missed, performances were sloppy, and the studio sessions that once ignited his creativity became arenas of tension. The drugs dulled his senses, turning the fiery guitarist into a shadow of himself, his relationships with bandmates and family fraying under the weight of his choices. At home, Perry's addiction wreaked havoc. His marriage to Elissa Jarrett, once a source of stability, became a battlefield. Think of a woman who had stood by Perry during his meteoric rise, now faced with a partner who was slipping away, unreachable behind a haze of drugs and detachment. Arguments became routine, trust eroded, and love, though still present, was strained to its breaking point. Perry's children, too, felt the distance. He was there but absent, a father whose presence was overshadowed by his inner turmoil. Birthdays, school milestones, and simple moments of connection were overshadowed by his addiction. The guilt weighed on him, but the cycle of substance abuse made it feel inescapable. Perry's children, growing up in the shadow of their father's fame, saw both the highs and the devastating lows of life as a rock star's family. Perry's addiction didn't exist in isolation. The chaos of his personal life bled into his professional relationships, compounding the already strained dynamics within Aerosmith. His erratic behavior and inability to fully commit to the band's collective vision led to frequent clashes with Steven Tyler, whose own struggles mirrored Perry's in troubling ways. The two toxic twins were often locked in a destructive dance, enabling each other's addictions while blaming one another for the band's faltering trajectory. Think of the irony. Perry, a man whose guitar work could electrify millions, was losing control of the very thing that had made him a legend. His precision and artistry on stage contrasted sharply with the disorder consuming his personal life. The same man who could captivate an arena was incapable of holding his own world together. Addiction has a way of isolating its victims, and Perry was no exception. Friends, family, and bandmates tried to reach him, but the fortress he had built around himself was impenetrable. The further he sank into addiction, the more isolated he became, creating a vicious cycle of guilt. Picture Perry looking into a mirror after another night of excess, barely recognizing the man staring back at him. He wanted to break free, to reconnect with the family he had alienated and the band he had built from the ground up, but the weight of his addiction made every step feel impossible. Joe Perry's battle with addiction wasn't just a chapter in his life. It was a defining struggle that shaped the man he would become. The scars it left behind were visible in his music, his relationships, and his demeanor. Yet, even in the depths of his addiction, there was a spark of resilience that refused to be extinguished. For Perry, recovery wasn't immediate or easy. It came with setbacks, pain, and the slow realization that rebuilding his life would take more than just sobriety. It would require facing the wreckage he had left in his wake. His journey from chaos to clarity became a testament to his strength, a reminder that even the most seemingly unshakable icons are human, vulnerable, and capable of redemption. Joe Perry's return to Aerosmith in 1984 was far from a triumphant homecoming. It was messy, raw, and riddled with unspoken grudges. Picture this: two men who had once shared a brotherhood, now sitting across from each other in a tense meeting, the air thick with unresolved anger and bruised egos. Steven Tyler and Perry both knew they needed each other, but the scars from Perry's abrupt departure 5 years earlier still burned. For Perry, walking back into the band he had abandoned wasn't just a return to music. It was an act of penance. For Tyler, it was a reluctant gamble, a test to see if the fire of their partnership could be reignited without burning them both to the ground. Despite the bitterness that lingered, one thing became immediately clear: the creative chemistry between Tyler and Perry was still electric. As they began to write and record again, the old magic resurfaced, producing tracks that would define Aerosmith's resurgence. Songs like Ragdoll, Angel, and Love in an Elevator weren't just hits, they were a testament to the power of their collaboration. But that chemistry came at a cost. The studio became a battlefield, with Tyler and Perry frequently clashing over creative control. Tyler, ever the perfectionist, pushed for polished, radio-friendly tracks, while Perry wanted to preserve the raw, bluesy edge that had defined their early sound. Their arguments were as intense as their music, with sessions sometimes devolving into shouting matches. For every moment of harmony, there was a moment of discord, and the balance between creation and destruction was razor-thin. The band's resurgence in the late 1918s and early 1919s was nothing short of miraculous. Albums like Permanent Vacation and Pump propelled Aerosmith back to the top of the charts, earning them legions of new fans and solidifying their status as rock legends. Tracks like Dude, Looks Like a Lady, and Janie's Got a Gun weren't just hits, they were cultural phenomena, showcasing a band that had learned to evolve without losing its identity. Yet, beneath the glittering success, the cracks in their relationship never fully healed. Old grievances resurfaced as Perry and Tyler revisited the arguments that had driven them apart in the first place. Tyler's flamboyant persona and domineering presence often clashed with Perry's quieter, more introverted nature. Perry, who had always preferred to let his guitar do the talking, resented Tyler's tendency to dominate the spotlight, while Tyler bristled at Perry's perceived aloofness. As the band's star rose again, so did the pressures of fame. The relentless touring schedule, combined with the demands of producing hit after hit, took its toll on everyone, but especially on Tyler and Perry. Both men were still fighting their own battles, Tyler with his health and sobriety, and Perry with the burden of rebuilding his reputation within the band. Think of it, a stage illuminated by pyrotechnics, the roar of the crowd deafening, yet behind the scenes, the tension simmered like a storm waiting to break. For every standing ovation, there were moments of bitterness as the band struggled to navigate the delicate balance between their renewed success. Even as Aerosmith soared to new heights, the relationship between Tyler and Perry remained a fragile alliance. Their partnership was built on both admiration and resentment, a combustible mix that could spark brilliance or chaos at any moment. Perry often described their dynamic as a marriage, but it was one marked by constant power struggles and emotional wounds that never fully healed. The success of their comeback was undeniable, but it came with a cost. For Tyler and Perry, the journey back to the top wasn't just about reclaiming their place in rock history. It was about learning to coexist despite their differences. Their story wasn't one of perfect harmony, but of resilience, a testament to their ability to channel their conflicts into something greater. The return of Joe Perry to Aerosmith was more than just a reunion. It was a rebirth. The scars of their past never faded, but they became part of the band's story, adding depth and complexity to their legacy. Tyler and Perry's relationship, fraught with tension yet fueled by mutual respect, was the heart of that story, a reminder that even the most fractured partnerships can create something extraordinary. Their ability to rebuild, despite the odds, stands as one of rock's most compelling narratives, a story of conflict, redemption, and the enduring power of music to bring people together, even when everything else threatens to tear them apart. Steven Tyler's candid revelations about Joe Perry paint a picture of a man whose brilliance was often overshadowed by his struggles. For all his conflicts with Tyler, his bandmates, and the music industry, Perry remains one of rock's most iconic guitarists. His journey, marked by triumphs and setbacks, is a testament to the resilience of an artist who refused to compromise his vision. Their story, like their music, is a mix of chaos and harmony, a reminder that even the greatest partnerships are forged in fire. For Tyler and Perry, the highs and lows of their relationship are inseparable from the legacy they built together. A legacy that continues to captivate fans and inspire future generations of musicians.